To the Orangetown Town Board, regularly scheduled town board meeting. Would the town clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Dennis Troy.
Present.
Councilman Tom Divany.
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Vitari. Supervisor Chris Day.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Esther Bailey, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have several announcements. First, the Highway Department is hosting the 23rd Annual Open House this Saturday, May 18th. I'm sorry, not this Saturday, but on Saturday, May 18th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Highway Department facility just off Route 303. Our 2019 Military Tribute Banner Program, the first year we're doing it, is in effect, and banners are available at militarytributebanners.org. It's $150 for a banner. We have display locations in Spark Hill, Orangeburg, and downtown Pearl River. We've already had 30 and change. I think we're up to like 34 or so sign up in advance, which is a good start, and we're sure we'll get more once people see them up. They're a great thing if you have a veteran in your family or a veteran you know of that you want to honor. Please visit that or email supervisor@orangetown.com for any questions or more details.
Just one thing, Chris, would the town have a list of local veterans that they could sponsor if they don't know anyone?
If someone wants to sponsor a veteran, we can certainly
Provide a list?
provide a list by reaching out to some of the American Legions and VFWs.
All right.
If someone's looking to just pick a veteran and sponsor him who doesn't have a family, maybe. Certainly something we can do. Just email supervisor@orangetown.com if you have questions. There's a list of different events for Memorial Day. This is the last meeting before Memorial Day, right? I think so. Do we have one more? No, we have one more.
We got the
The
21st.
21st. All right, either way, we'll announce them anyway. Sunday, May 26th, the Veterans, the memorial at the Walkway of Heroes over at Tapan. The memorial for Camp Shanks is at 10 a.m. That's a ceremony. On Monday, the 27th of May, Palisades has their ceremony at 9 a.m. at the flagpole at the corner of Closter and 9W. On Monday, the 27th, Piermont has their parade starting at 9:30 a.m. at the firehouse, proceeding to a ceremony at Kennedy Park at 10. Also on Monday, the rest of these are on Monday, just to be clear, is the Pearl River Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony. It starts at 10:30 a.m., stepping off from the CVS at Middletown Road, straight down Central Avenue to a ceremony at Brownsdorf Park. Then we have the Blauvelt celebration. Raymond O. Blauvelt Legion Post of Upper Nyack, Veterans of Fall War. So basically the combined Nyack one starts at 11 for their Memorial Day Parade and celebration. So there's a lot of different names mixed in that paragraph. Starts in the Farmers Market parking lot, ends through town at the gazebo. Then John M. Perry Post 1044 Spark Hill is having their parade starting at 11:15 at the firehouse on that Monday, the 27th. Lineups at 11:15, steps off at 11:30, ends over at the Monument in Depot Square. Blauvelt Lions have their Memorial Day celebration at 12 noon at Blauvelt Lions Park in Blauvelt. Then on May 29th, which is the traditional Memorial Day, 27th being the Monday where it's observed, the annual Watchfire at the Piermont Pier. Ceremony begins at 11 p.m., fire lit at 11:30, and will burn for 24 hours, which is sponsored by the Vietnam Veterans, Chapter 333. Also on the traditional Memorial Day is another Watchfire, same time, different place, top of Clausland Mountain, also sponsored by Vietnam Veterans, Post 333. Moving on to some town business, the public hearing for a proposed amendment for bicycling and skating in public streets, which would require bicyclists to ride single file, is scheduled for May 21st at 8:15. Public meeting, we have a West Washington Bridge replacement. This is going to take place in the conference multipurpose room downstairs in Town Hall on May 29th at 7:30. That's being held by the county. They're looking to do a bridge replacement, and they're trying to make sure they give the formal public hearing portion. Public hearing regarding proposed amendments to the delinquent property tax law is scheduled for June 18th at 8:05 p.m. And a continuation of public hearing for a requested zone change for 576 Route 303 and other adjoining properties is on for June 18th at 8:15 p.m. So there's several different proclamations today and then a relatively light agenda because we were just here last week. First, This May 2019 is Mental Health Awareness Month. NAMI of Rockland, National Alliance on Mental Health Illness of Rockland County is here. I'm going to present them a proclamation and give them the opportunity to speak, which I'm sure will teach us a little bit about what they do and that sort of thing as a brief presentation on Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but whereas since 1949, the month of May has been designated as Mental Illness Awareness Month throughout the nation, and whereas mental health is essential to the well-being and vitality of all families, businesses, and communities, there's many people we lose to suicide, and 1 in 4 Americans and 1 out of 5 children are affected by mental illness. And whereas we want to keep the stigma of mental illness free, because oftentimes it comes with an undeserved stigma, unlike physical illness, I, Chris Day, Orangetown Supervisor, on behalf of the Town Board, do proclaim the month of May 2019 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the town of Orangetown, and call upon all citizens and residents to be aware of mental health and make sure that they take care of it in their employees, their family members, and themselves. So I'm going to call up the representatives from NAMI to take the proclamation, and then they can go over to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you.
Can I turn this around a little? Does that be all right?
Yeah, that's right there.
Yeah. Good evening, and thank you. We want to thank you, Supervisor Day, and all of the board members for giving us this opportunity to speak about mental illness awareness, and for kicking off the campaign in Orangetown. You'll see our ribbons and our signs throughout the county. On May 1st, we kicked it off in the county with the raising of a mental illness awareness flag. Just to tell you a little bit about mental illness, we like to think of them as no-fault, equal opportunity disorders, because they affect people of all genders, all racial, all ethnic, social, and economic backgrounds. And you mentioned the statistics before, Supervisor Day, that 1 in 4 people in the United States are affected by these illnesses. But, these aren't just numbers. These people are our family members, our neighbors, right here in Orangetown and throughout the county. And they live here right among us. NAMI Rockland is a not-for-profit agency. We're affiliated with the National Alliance of Mental Illness, which is the largest grassroots mental health agency in the United States. And our local organization was born in 1981 with just a small group of parents who got together to share their pain, their sense of hopelessness, guilt and shame, and their impotence to make any changes in the mental health system. Well, a lot of that has changed. We no longer blame parents for what happens for their children's mental illness. But today also, NAMI Rockland is a vital cog in our community behavioral health system. And we've provided thousands of local families with support and all kinds of services, and we've provided educational programs for thousands of more Rockland County residents. Through our advocacy, we've been partners in bringing major changes and improvements to our system. But there's a lot more to be done. Through our many public education programs in schools and colleges and libraries and other venues, there is more awareness, and there's less stigma than ever before. And yet suicide rates have increased by 1/3 in the past 20 years. Drug overdose deaths are at an all-time high. Anxiety disorders are more prevalent, and life expectancy for those who live with mental illness is actually going down. So what's missing? Our mental health system still needs to address
childhood experiences, the effects of traumatic events. And while we are encouraging more talk about illness, we also need to learn how to effectively be able to achieve wellness and live in the solution that we need to create around us. And NAMI Rockland strives for these goals through our helpline and a host of valuable and free evidence-based support and education programs and several courses. NAMI Family to Family is an evidence-based course targeted to families and friends of adults, while NAMI Basics provides coping skills and all kinds of valuable information for parents and guardians of children. And I just want to mention Family Peer Advocate Services, because that's a program that's unique to our local organization, to Rockland County. And it's designed for families of kids and young adults up to age 23 with all kinds of behavioral and mental health challenges. Trained OMH certified counselors, and they speak both English and Spanish, and they truly understand their clients because they've been there themselves, and they work under the oversight of our social worker. And they address families' individual needs and concerns, help them to solve problems, learn ways to communicate effectively with their loved ones, how to advocate for them, and we also make referrals and assist the parents in getting appropriate placements in school services. And learning these kinds of skills can potentially change the trajectory of these kids' lives. So we offer our community residents and to anyone who needs our services both help and hope. And they know that they're not alone. So I've only touched on a few of the programs that we have, but we did give you out materials, giving you a list of our programs, and there'll be some out in the lobby for anyone else who needs them, who has any friends or for their own families. And did I mention, I'll mention it again, that all our programs are free. So I'm going to turn the mic over to our legislation chair, Jackie Drexler, for a few words. She, like me, she's an Orangetown resident.
I'm
Oh, sorry.
I used to be one.
Oh, sorry. But anyway, we come from all over Rockland County. And just as a segue into what Jackie's going to tell you about, I'm going to mention just one of our newest programs, and it's called NAMI Homefront. And this is a free, supportive education program, and it's designed to help family members who understand and support their active duty service member or veteran while maintaining their own well-being. So here's Jackie. Thank you.
Can you hear me? You can probably hear me without it. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come back again this year. So I came to NAMI because a family member had some pretty serious problems, and I had been going to NAMI's educational outreach nights where they had fabulous seminars for a couple of years, and I finally said, gee, is there anything I can do? I'm enjoying all these great programs you offer. And they said, yeah, join the board. So I did. And right now, my big thing is working on the advocacy. This is working on legislation in New York State to work on different bills to make sure that the people who do have mental illness challenges have medicines available to them, that they can be in programs, that they can have all sorts of services that really go to their overall health. Our focus this year is on suicide prevention and on suicide awareness. We've been leaving literature at town halls, village halls, libraries, high schools, colleges, information about what the warning signs are of suicide, the risk factors for suicide, and where to call for help. So in your packets that you have, board members, we have a couple of, we have a fabulous little card that we give out to high schools. There's a wonderful new program we're doing called, Ending the Silence. And it's this great program that was designed by high schoolers, videos and talkbacks with kids in high school. And we hand out these fabulous little cards for kids to get help if they notice that a friend of theirs is in some trouble, they can reach out. So you have this, which talks a little bit about facts about suicide. It's the S word that no one wants to hear, but it's a very big deal. And on the back is the thing about all of our programs that we offer. You also have a couple of flyers on our parent programs and support groups. So, according to the Centers for Disease Control, each year more than 41,000 individuals die by suicide. A death by suicide happens every 12 minutes. As a result, thousands of friends and family members are left to navigate the tragedy of their loss. Countless others, schoolmates, co-workers, friends, and friends of friends, also grapple with and try to understand what has happened, what they might have done or said, and if they could have stopped it. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among adults in the U.S., and this is so sad, the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 24. It's no longer just teenagers. These rates have gone up in every age group, but the rate is highest in adults between the ages of 45 and 64. The risk factors for suicide change with age. Going back to the young people, teens may not have the coping skills to deal with the breakups or family problems such as abuse or substance misuse. They may be the target of bullying, either online or in person. They may identify with someone who has died by suicide, and it's catching. Kind of like there's this whole thing about laughter is catching, so is suicide. Older adults at risk may be dealing with illness, isolation, chronic pain, financial insecurity, or the death of a partner. The statistics among certain populations is devastating. 20 veterans die by suicide in this country every day. The rate of death by suicide among young black males has increased by 77% in the last decade. LGBTQ youth are 3 times more likely than heterosexual youth to attempt suicide. Native American people have the highest rate of death by suicide compared to any other ethnic group in the U.S. Having suicidal thoughts does not mean someone is weak or flawed. Suicidal thoughts or actions are not a bid for attention. They are the result of extreme stress and should not be ignored. It is important to remember that asking someone direct questions about suicidal thoughts and behavior will not actually make them more likely to attempt suicide. If you see something, say something. You may just save a life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So we have 3 other proclamations, one for this month and 2 for upcoming weeks. The first is for Building Safety Month, which is May 2019. It's a long proclamation with much detail, speaking of the importance of the safety in construction, safety in inspections, safety in our homes, and making sure that we follow the code. I'm very happy that in Orangetown we have a building department that does that and does a good job of enforcing the code. So I'm going to ask Jane Slavin, our building department director and chief building inspector, to come up and take this proclamation. If you have anything you'd like to add about the importance, please feel free.
Not for me, the state does it. Just a reminder, I know for some it's very cumbersome, the building codes. They're actually minimum standards. And codes are developed because something went terribly wrong. And usually someone dies because something went terribly wrong. So keep that in mind, and we're there to answer any questions. And the permit process actually helps to protect the applicant and the consumer from fraudulent work or contractors trying to shortcut the codes. That's why we're there.
Next, we have a proclamation, May 12th to May 18th, is it? Or is it May 19th? 19th. Well, the proclamation says 18th, so we're gonna have to edit that, but you get 6 days now. We're cutting it back. Is National Police Week. In Orangetown, we definitely respect both our local police department and the many Orangetown residents who are in different police departments, particularly in New York City. Being a police officer is obviously a dangerous job and has gotten more dangerous in recent years compared to other recent years. And it's important that we remember that people go out there every day to keep us safe, and it's not by magic that this town is safe. It's safe because of the people that patrol it. And I just want to point out something from this. 1,582 law enforcement officers died in the line of duty during the past 10 years, 158 of which were killed in 2018. National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund's annual Candlelight Vigil is the evening of May 13th, and May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and all U.S. flags are flown at half-staff for that. So I'm going to call up Chief Butterworth for this proclamation for Police Week in town of Orangetown. And ask him to say a few words. Next, we only have one copy, but I'm going to have more copies run off because we've got 3 departments this applies to. The week following National Police Week is National Public Works Week. Orangetown happens to have 3 in particular departments. We have our Highway Department, our Parks and Rec and / Maintenance Department, and our DME or DEME or DME as we call it sometimes. Engineering and sewers and environmental management. The men and women in those departments put their blood, sweat, and tears into keeping this town moving in the right direction, keeping its infrastructure strong. Even if you can't see it, which sewer, you don't really see what happens after you flush the toilet, but when it stops working, you definitely know. So their efforts are definitely appreciated. We have an award-winning highway department. I know that we have a maintenance crew and parks department that is second to none and has done much things here around Town Hall to keep it from collapsing into a pile of dust, and also to make it look even better and better as time goes on somehow. And so I want to call up all 3 of our department heads, Highway Superintendent Jim Dean, Parks and Rec Director Eric Gordon, and Commissioner of DEME, Eamon Riley, to come up to get this. And we'll make extra copies. You just got to walk back with one between all of them. Thank you. And you can say something if you want. Feel free, please. Jim. Want to speak on behalf for a minute? Yeah, you're the elected official. You get to speak.
I heard it's national.
I do want to thank you on behalf of all the Public Works members in Orangetown. We are, have our own little titles, and I think we're all very, we protect our little titles, like Highway Department, Sewer Department, Engineering, Parks Department. However, we're all part of the Public Works community. One of the reasons we have the open house on the weekend we do, it's usually right this the middle of the National Public Works Week. And I know accepting this on behalf of the men and women that work in each of our departments that really do the job, that are dedicated employees, and they have the ability to get the training and do the job and provide safety for themselves and the public because the town board supports us on that. So we'd like to share this with the board and the people in Orangetown that appreciate what we do and help us do it safely.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
So that's our last proclamation. We do have one more brief presentation. Eamon Riley, who was just mentioned, is going to come up and just give us the draft MS4 report, the annual report for year 16. For those who don't know what it is, MS4 is essentially a stormwater management plan. I will turn it over to Eamon to take it from there, because that's all I know about it, and he knows a lot more.
Not all you need to know about it. Basically here just to announce that the draft MS4 report is now available online for public viewing. We have to adhere to the regulations that are set forth by the EPA and the DEC. One part of those many regulations is that we must submit an annual report and publicly announce that it's available for viewing. That's the purpose of this announcement. The report is now available on the town's website. It is a draft report, and the final report will be submitted by June 1st.
Great.
So if
Any
anyone has
questions?
any questions?
I want to say, I'm glad you got the memo on the navy blue suit, red tie, white
there you
shirt
go.
combo. That was good.
Very good.
You're messing up, guys. I don't know, read your emails.
I'm honoring National Proclamation Month.
All right. All right, so that being done and said and such, we're going to move on to workshopping our agenda items. So first item, we are moving our police commission that was scheduled for today to the next meeting on the 21st to accommodate for interviews for the various promotions that will follow our new chief, Chief Butterworth. That's the only change in the schedule. Does anyone have anything, since we're opening the schedule question, on the current schedule for the town board that was planned that you might want to suggest a change to now, looking out further months, since we're going to vote on it anyway?
Let me see.
Just like if you forgot about a birthday or you know. They won't have quorum because too many people are out. The 4th of which, of June? Will you guys be here on the June 4th?
Yeah, June 4th.
All right, so as long as we have a quorum, we're good. Anything else you're noticing? We all were good with it when we've approved it, but since we're voting on it, we might as well take a look. I think I'm good. You good?
The 23rd of July, I won't be here. 'cause
Okay,
everyone else-
I should be fine. You good? July 23rd? Yeah?
Yep.
As long as we have 3. Jerry should be there, yes. Okay. Well, barring any other objections, we'll just keep that one change. Let me know if you find anything that needs to be keep going forward. The next agenda item is just to reauthorize a standard thing about civil rights under Title VI, which is a different title from other ones, but it's an important title nonetheless, and we have to revote on that. It's done annually. Then we have the Climate Smart Communities Pledge. The town of Orangetown had previously adopted this, but it was so long ago that we want to make sure when we apply for grants, or if we do, it's still considered valid, so we're just revoting on it. It was done, I think, like 9, 10 years ago. So we just want to sort of revote it.
Which one is that?
Number 5, it's basically saying we're going to try to, we recognize environmental issues and we're going to try to work to stop it. Non-binding, but it puts us in a position to be able to apply for grants that we'd already voted on again. It's in effect right now, but we don't want to be told when we finish the grant application that it's not valid anymore.
That must have been a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It was like 10, 15 years ago.
These grants come from the state?
They do, if you get them, and obviously any grants we would check to make sure with strings attached and such.
Because the state really cares about climate change?
I don't think the state, well, we'll not get into that, I don't think, here, but if they
Well,
cared
I'll
that
tell
much,
you,
they'd probably just fix it,
You
right?
have a governor that took Indian Point
Yep.
and Entergy and backed them into a corner to get them closed in 2021. That's clean energy.
It is, and
all right?
there's a,
It's also the same governor that has stopped fracking here in New York State, which hurts our economy in here in New York State. But, oh, wait, I'm sorry. We're going to legalize marijuana, so we'll get our money from that.
well, that's
Isn't that
green,
great?
in a sense, right?
Just-
Marijuana's green.
I'm done ranting.
You good? If you want another minute, we can
Oh,
keep
yes,
going.
as a matter of fact, I do. There's one other thing,
You should read this
that we need a
material.
resolution, on congested
Congestion
pricing
pricing,
in the
yes.
city, because we got a lot of people here that commute down to the city, some who actually drive down to the city to pay their taxes up here, and the idiot who is the mayor down there has no clue. And the thing is, congestion pricing is the same mayor that allowed Uber and Lyft, 4 zillion hired taxi cabs down in New York City with no limit, whereas there was a limit on yellow cabs. As a former yellow cab driver, I'm very aware of that, back in my youth. And it's a thing where now all of a sudden you have all this congestion, and the answer to everything in New York State is, oh, wait, we'll raise another tax or something else, and that's the solution. It's a horrendous solution, and it definitely impacts Rockland County.
Especially we have the least of the public transportation in the MTA, so we have the most car-reliant commuters.
But Dennis, things were a lot different back in the 30s when you were driving, so.
You had to dodge all the trolleys and everything when you were driving. No, I mean, that is a good point. The taxi cab, you've seen like a spate of suicides amongst taxi cab
Yes.
drivers, because the medallions have crashed in price, you know? Yeah.
There were nine suicides last year for, I don't know if it was just yellow cab drivers, but it was 9 suicides last year for people who are hired drivers in New York City.
Right, their whole economic situation's changed, yeah.
Well,
You want something to add on the?
I just
So yeah, again, it's, whatever problems we may have with the state, this is essentially just a re-adoption of a non-binding resolution, so. And we are trying to check the boxes so we can get those, get that program forward.
Sometimes taking grants aren't in the best interest of the community.
And as we've all agreed, we definitely always evaluate every grant to make sure that it doesn't come with it. It's why we didn't take the community development block grants and probably never will because of the strings that come with those things. But some don't, so we gotta evaluate each one as it comes. Moving on, next one is the accept the candle agreement for drug abuse prevention programs. Cost is $35,000. This is done each year. Then we have permission for Rosanna and Joe to go to a tax collection seminar, which I'm sure is an enthralling agenda. To keep everyone very engaged. Lake Placid, well, very good. Then approval of certificates of sewer registration. Then approving a settlement in Mathers v. Town of Orangetown for essentially the nuisance value, as unfortunate as it may be. Then resolution to grant permission for Jane to attend the National Energy Code Conference, which is actually also fits towards that climate smart communities thing. Then resolution to amend the title search inspection fees. After much discussion amongst the board with Jane and her checking out different options, she found a home inspector company, and she tried 3 or 4. It was 4 tried and 2 responded, and 1 is going to be worked with to be able to do on-site inspections when someone sells to check there for violations. So instead of just checking the file, they'll be going on and seeing, is that deck legal? Did you convert a whole wing of your house that was a garage to a living area? Major things, not, is the railing perfectly spaced? It's, should there be a deck? Is the shed twice as big as it's supposed to be? That sort of thing. They've done a test run. It came out well. The current fee is $200 for just the paper. Based on the math of what it costs us to outsource it and the hourly rate of our clerk, it comes to like $335, $340-ish.
About right.
Rounding up to $350 for the average one. Some it'll cost a little more, some it'll cost a lot less. And then we'll be able to make sure that when a house is transferred in the town of Orangetown, you should know that you don't have any major violations on it because someone checked. So we'll be able to adopt that tonight. Any questions on that, guys?
Nope.
Cool. Yes, Jen? Exterior.
Exterior.
Exterior only. We're not doing interiors. We're not going to literally open that can of worms. We can't do this, all right? But there's a public comment after this, and you can talk. Yeah, no, you can go. Yeah, you're allowed. You're an employee, but we'll have public comment in a couple minutes, and you can get up, okay? Next, we have camp busing agreement for Chestnut Ridge Transportation for our town camp. Then we have accepting improvements to Boris Park by Daisy Troop 4016 of Pearl River. They are going to be doing a park cleanup and ornamental plantings donated by Van Houten Farms. And they also have painting supplies provided by the Paint Can. Then resolution to approve a change order for the Blue Hill Golf Course bunker renovation project. Does anyone have any questions for Eric about this one? Because I won't be able to answer them.
No, I saw them.
Saw the
I
memo
saw the email.
and the background information?
Discussed it last.
All right, good. And then that's it, because it's a very brief meeting, except for the presentations. So going back, now I move that we open public comment. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would you like to speak in public comment? It's 3 minutes,
Well,
up to 3
there's 2
minutes.
people signed up.
Oh, we do have people signed up. Okay, good. I didn't see many people in public. Okay, well, Estes first. You did beat it there, all right. For those of you at home, we have 3 people from the public here today. I assume there wasn't many people to speak, but Esther, whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Okay. Good evening, Supervisor Day and Town Board members. For the record, my name is Esther Baitler, and I'm a unique resident in Spark Hill. I want to congratulate Donald Butterworth for being our new chief of police. It's about time we got somebody who's great. And I want to thank him because he comes out at night for our fire drills at day treatment, and he's always on the ball. He deserves a raise, and I will agree to that. I also want to speak about Aloof Industries. I'm glad they're going to court. Their odors have been awful. When I go on the bus to go to work on Thursday and Friday morning, I smell it. It's awful. They should have been in court already, and they should be given more violations. It's disgusting. People are dying of cancer. And this should have been done already. it's all talk and no action with this, but I'm glad to hear that they'll be sent to court. And I hope they get closed down with citations. The other thing I just want to make it clear to Dennis and the board, number one, people shouldn't be labeled as mentally ill. I want to put a stop to this. We are people with intellectual disabilities. And we're unique and we're very high functioning. Without me, there wouldn't be Venture or Geronio because they run a great mental health program with Dr. Joe Zweig at Geronio Tech. But the labeling has to stop. It's getting enough already. When we get infected by the state, they look at us like, you know, we pass with flying colors and they run, especially when they see me. But the people shouldn't be labeled. People have feelings. And I really am against the labeling. Everybody should be in the same category as people who are higher functioning, who can work with intellectual disabilities. I'm one of them, and I work at Five Guys, and boy am I proud of it. Even though I work 2 days a week, they put up with me. Dennis, that was not professional.
I've been there, I've been to Five Guys.
You've never been there. But, I mean, you should be proud of what people can do out in the community. I have a job coach who said, Esther, you don't need to be trained, you train me. And it's true, without me, there would never be Venture.
Thank you, Esther.
And because of Dennis, who keeps me in line.
Thank you, Esther.
Have a great night.
Jackie?
Here I am again, like a bad penny.
Welcome. I feel like this is deja vu, but welcome again.
Well, I could be my twin sister.
Possible.
But she's actually over at the county legislative building talking on the same subject that I did before. It's really wonderful that Orangetown, although, a small little town, has been very forward-thinking in many ways. You've had a fantastic highway department. And the fellow who spoke on the, the sewer, I know I've been part of the task force on water group, and the water storm management issue is very important in Rockland County, for sure. So anyway, I just see you have so many things on here. It looks like you do so much, and you support so many wonderful things. So I just wanted to, congratulate you for doing such good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm especially really pleased. I mean, I don't know that anyone from the Sierra Club Rockland is here tonight. I am part of the Sierra Club Rockland branch, and I know that we've been working very hard to get people onto the idea of the smart communities because aside from getting the grants, it really empowers people to do their best, look at their own greenhouse gas footprint and try to affect change. So I'm really glad I was here on the night when you were doing a resolution on that, and I'm going to let the Sierra Club know. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm just going to get and assume no one else from the public is here to speak. Unless you want to get up again? No?
Anyone else?
All right. Is there a motion to close the public comment?
Motion closed.
From Councilman Dibny, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
All right.
All right, just to touch on one thing that Esther brought up, well, two things. One, mental illness is different from the intellectually disabled. It's a totally different set of issues. Completely, it's a technical term for people who have certain specific things. They are linked in many ways, but they are different terms. So no one means to belittle anyone with that. To aloof, we did give an update last week. We gave an update last week, and they have been already in court, will continue to be on multiple violations we've issued. In a week and a half ago now, we did issue another set of 7 violations times 6 entities for another spate of problems that they did, and they will be before the ZBA to determine whether they are in compliance with their the performance standards, and if found not to be, they can then be shut down. I will add, though, however, it is a huge nuisance. It is a problem for everyone. There is no one that is suffering from cancer. We did air testing to make sure that there was safety for the residents, and those came out positive based on the testing from the company by Clean Air for Orangetown. But it is a major problem, and we are moving as far forward as we can on it, and we're going to continue to issue violations. And if the ZBA determines that they have been in violation of their performance standards, they will then be moved to close down those portions of their business until it's fixed. And then climate smart communities. One good thing about this, and everyone's tracking, it's a very simple program. It's a points system, and you get certified. We're almost all the way to the first level just by stuff we're doing already. We put in the electric vehicle charging stations. We have recycling programs at every event around town. So we're just kind of like nibbling at the edges to get to that first level, which gives us a certain thing we can then take a look at grants. So not much we have to do really to get ahead to that first step. We already were doing the right thing. We just weren't formally getting recognized for it. So moving on now to voting. We're going to probably get through this in about 5 minutes. So is there a motion for the first one to adopt the new calendar regarding the police commission specifically? Councilman Valentine, seconded by Councilman Troy. All in favor? Okay. Regarding the Civil Rights Act statement, motion? Councilman Troy, seconded by Councilman Divney. All in favor? Climate Smart Communities Pledge, is there a motion?
Can I have a question on this?
Yes, you may.
This is the whole initiative?
No. So there's a pro,
Is there anything about what these 10 things we're supposed to be meeting are?
so there's a,
Because I don't remember voting on this since I've been on the board.
this was done how long ago, Amanda? Like 2001.
Okay,
It was
that's
voted
why
on, so it
we
was a little
went
while
out.
ago. So we're recertifying it, it was committed to already. Yeah, we'll get you guys the list, it's a very simple list. It gets very complex if you want to go to the next level, but the basic level, we basically do almost everything already. It's just, we get the stamp of approval, says we're certified, we can apply for stuff. But this is just a resolution, it's not binding. I can get to that later. Yes. Right. So is there a motion on this one, or any more discussion?
Make a motion.
All right, Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Could you just get us the backup?
Yeah, we'll get you, there's a website you can go and explore,
I
you know.
looked at that today.
And half of it's stuff that we do already, half is stuff we'd have to choose to do, but, you know, this is just a just-in-case thing. A resolution to approve the candle agreement, is there a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor? Resolution to let Rosanna and Joe go to some training. Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor? Resolution to approve certificates of sue registration, is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor? Resolution to approve a settlement
Summer vacation.
for someone. Councilman Troy, second by Councilman, the $12,500, so he'll, you know,
Does this have to be a supermajority or? No.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Divney, all in favor? Is there an opposition? One opposed? Resolution to grant permission for our Director of Building to attend an Energy Code conference. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to amend title search inspection fees and allow for exterior on-site inspections. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve the busing for our camps. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman, we'll go with Divney came out first, and Troy with a second. All in favor? Resolution to accept the Daisy Troops improvements, which is cool. Daisies are a very young group of people that be doing that. That's good. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor? And resolution to approve a change order for the Blue Hill Golf Course bunker renovation project. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Divney. All in favor? So we actually don't have an audit today. We've had so rapid a set of meetings that there is no,
We're not paying any bills.
no bills. That's how we're going to afford our taxes. We're not paying any bills anymore. I- So it was a question shouted out real quick about early voting. I might think there is an early voting thing now in New York. It'll be in effect starting in the primaries. I just had a meeting today with the supervisors and the Board of Elections. There is going to be a cost associated with it. It's mandated by the state that we do it, and the county is most likely going to pass it down to us. So we are probably going to want to do a resolution calling on the county to keep the costs to us. The polling place will be Town Hall for early voting. There'll be one in Orangetown, one in Clarkstown, one in Haverstraw, one in Ramapo.
I already approved that.
The question is, and Stony Point will probably have to use the Haverstraw location.
Good to see the state helping us again.
Yeah, so it's an unfunded mandate that may also become a next level unfunded mandate.
How many, we could just have town hall as the early voting place?
That's it, that is what it is. There will be 4 countywide locations.
Okay.
The 3 that are locked in are Clarkstown Town Hall, Orangetown Town Hall, and Ramapo Town Hall. The 4th one for North Rockland, they're not sure if it's gonna be Haverstraw Town Hall or somewhere else. Bless you, because people from Stony Point go to Haverstraw, they suddenly get all confused and everything, so. But they have one up there. There will be a cost. They're trying to do is get electronic ballot books to speed the process and save the cost of overtime, because then everything will automatically populate for the day of election, people that pre-voted. But if not, then it'll be a big paper process. The electronic books, you basically sign with a stylus on a tablet, and then the same way we're trying to do stuff in town. There'll be a cost associated with that. The question will be, is the upfront cost worth the ongoing cost of overtime and everything? Because when it's done like the day prior to the election, and they have to spend, it's done the Friday prior to the election, and they have to spend that whole weekend getting everything divided up, sent over to individual polling places, redone. It's gonna be a bit of a mess. They don't know exactly what the cost's gonna be, but it'll be decent, and we may want to put a resolution on calling on the legislature and the county executive to keep the cost at the county level and see how that goes. But
Worth a shot.
they've been pushing stuff down lately, so, yeah.
Chris, you forgot to mention the venture golf tournament.
What is that? There's a venture golf tournament in June, and then
Yes, it's coming up the
we
first
did
week
have,
of June.
we are, first week of June, and so we're gonna go ahead and move to adjournment we're gonna go to executive session to discuss, land sales and contract matters. Is there personnel and personnel? And personnel. We will be adjourning in memory of Patrick McGovern, who is a police officer who passed away due to 9/11 related illness recently from Pearl River. A very sad loss for the community and for the police department in New York City. So I'm going to head and move that we enter executive session for contracts, land sales, and personnel, and immediately thereafter adjourn in memory of Officer Patrick McGovern. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.